Hey, it's Jolene. Before we dive into this juicy episode, I wanted to ask, did you know I have a group coaching program where we dive into the power of accountability and support so that you can reach the healthiest version of you? Check it out at holistichealthmadesimple.com/abundant-health. Now let's dive into this great conversation I had with my coach, Adriana. If you are ready to break free from the scale, feel your best, and reclaim your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Holistic Health Made Simple, where ancestral wisdom and science collide. I'm Jolene, your nutritional therapy practitioner and BFF on this wild ride. Let's explore the transformative power of a holistic mindset, the untapped potential of your gut health, the mysteries of metabolism, and the pillars of lifelong wellness. Say bye-bye to the frustration of yo-yo dieting and the allure of quick fixes and the maze of contradictory advice. Are you ready to step into this new chapter of your life and become your healthiest, most amazing self? Grab some water, pop in those headphones, and let's get started. Hey there. So today I have a special guest. Adriana is actually my coach, and I have invited her here to talk to you all about mindfulness. But before we really dive in, I would love, Adriana, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about what exactly you do, besides, because I know you do more than mindfulness, and how you got into it. So tell us a little bit about you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jolene. First of all, I want everyone to know that I am here. Really, it's such an honor to be here with you in your space. And I want everyone to know that I'm here in loving presence, always completely present here with you. So again, my name is Adriana Chaves Gage, and I am a well-being. I work as a well-being coach. I teach meditation, and thus why mindfulness, being a mind coach, a well-being coach, and learning the beauty, the wisdom of Ayurveda, and putting it all together into these right here, right now. So mindfulness is one of my favorite topics. And if you're just tuning in and you're becoming more aware of what's happening here right now, you're practicing mindfulness. So one of the many things I love about it, it's simple, but yet powerful.
It's very powerful, especially when you can tap in each time you tap in a little bit more. It's amazing how it opens up what might be blocking you from achieving goals, is being mindful of what's going on inside your body as well as your surroundings and your mind. Um, I also know that you're also a hypnotherapist, and
Yes.
I'd love for you to touch on that as well, and just give everybody like the full Adriana experience so that we know what you do. Um, but the mindfulness, we'll go in and out of that. It's just the hypnotherapy is also something that some of my listeners might be interested in. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because we don't really talk about that when we're talking.
Yes, that's true. Thank you so much for reminding me of that huge aspect of what I do. And hypnotherapy is really the science, the study of the mind. And the mind is how we, through the mind, we perceive our internal and external world, right? So again, everything is intertwined. This month in my newsletter, I'm talking about the power of being present, of being in connection with nature, which also reminds me of the part of the hypnotherapy that connects ourselves with the universe, kind of this conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the universal mind. So is this connection by going within, by calming your mind, you can reach what I so often call your superpowers. So the coaching, the hypnotherapy, mindfulness, they're so connected together.
They definitely are. And so let's tackle mindfulness a little bit, and how, one, with the importance of mindfulness, because we all know we rush through life sometimes and we're not present. Like when I think of mindfulness, I think of being present in the moment, or being at least somewhat aware of it. Would you describe it as that, or even deeper?
Yeah, pretty much. If you are, again, that race, right? It's almost like we are in a race to get somewhere and get there fast, and we get anxious when we're not there yet. So mindfulness is what you explain, is just to bring your awareness, your conscious, to this moment. But there is another point of being mindful that is part of mindfulness. It's the part that we are doing that, being conscious of what we're doing while we're doing it without judgment. And this is with just curiosity. Here I am. Our body, our nature, we judge. We judge for our safety, and we continue doing that all the time. And oftentimes, what we find right here, right now, we're judging as not being good enough. I don't want to accept what's happening right now. So this part of observing what is with acceptance, without criticizing, judging what is happening. It's just being.
I like that. And just to tie it back into like a nutritional or overall health, because a lot of mindful work we don't realize that we need to do on the back end. We focus on food, but we don't focus on why we struggle eating healthy, or moving on when we maybe went out to dinner with friends. Like going out to dinner with friends is going out to dinner with friends. You enjoyed the moment, but why is it a struggle to go back to your normal pattern of eating? And a lot of that does tie into being aware or mindful of what's going on inside. Tell me a little bit about how we can open up and become more like, you and I have talked about, maybe you can even bring it up again, the stop method of like stopping for a second beforehand, to become more mindful. Like a lot of that all has to do with opening this all up on, being aware of why, but no judgment. And that seems to be the human hard part.
Yes, the human heart part. I love that. Yeah, it's very human. It's very common to judge because, again, that's what we conditioned to. But this stop technique, I'm so happy you mentioned that. Part of this practice of becoming more aware of your present moment is to stop. When you notice you're in a race with yourself, there's no winner there. It's just you racing yourself. So when you stop, when you just say even that word, stop, and the stop technique is this acronym that the S is for stop, when you stop, and then the T is to take a breath. So part of becoming more and more mindful of what you're doing while you're doing it, you can take that breath, because the breath is really a huge part of becoming more present. And in addition to that, perhaps even more important, is to calm your nervous system. Because when we're in that rat race, we are activating the sympathetic nervous system, the stress mode. We don't even need to go into details, how we all
Not at all.
know, and there's so much research that tells us it's okay to have a little bit of stress, but this continuous stress is really harsh in our body, in our mind, in our soul. So this stopping and taking a breath calms your nervous system, brings you here, because oftentimes the suffering is attached to the past and the future. Right here, right now, often you're safe, everything is okay, but we're creating those stories from what happened and what's yet to happen. And when you stop and you breathe, now you can observe, you can notice, and being the observer of what's happening detaches us from what is happening. In other words, I may be thinking about something, but I'm not this thought. I'm just the thinker of the thought. So I'm making it sort of exponentially larger here by introducing this thought that you're not your thought, you're the thinker of the thought. And when you stop and you breathe and you observe what's happening, you can detach from it and watch. And now peace to proceed. Now you can proceed calmly, more serenely towards where you're going or what is happening. But yeah, bringing it to the present moment and really accepting what is, the radical acceptance. This stop technique is a huge part because it connects the breath. And anytime you bring conscious breathing, you can change the way you are feeling. Because just like how you feel influences your breath, when you connect with your breath, you can change how you feel. And the stop technique delivers that.
Yes, it is a strong technique, and we've got, as humans or as women especially, we need to stop separating all these different aspects. Our actions are deeper than just the actions. It's coming from our past. It's what we think our future holds. It's not what's happening right here and there and right here and now. And a lot of women, a lot of you have children, and being present while you're with them, sometimes using this technique, you stop and you realize, I need to live in this moment today and not worry about the laundry. The laundry will get done. My child needs me to play with them right now, and I haven't played with them in weeks. Like things of those natures that I think we often are so wrapped up in what we need to eat, what we should not eat, what we need to do around the house, what we're not supposed to do, what the shoulds and we're shoulded to death, basically. And mindfulness brings us back into, rather than the should, the I am here and I am living. I mean, I just, I brought up in the past mindful eating. That's being aware. You brought up the parasympathetic mode. Digestion thrives on being at peace and being mindful and being calm, not being stressed, running ragged. And it's just for your whole body health. We got to stop detaching all these parts of ourselves. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted you here, is because we often detach this part of us away from the physical being, and we're one. So how can we, what are there, besides the stop technique, are there little teeny tips you can give somebody to to start, to get back on, just something small and tangible that they could put into work, that they could just start being more aware? It's easy to say, you just have to live in the moment. You have to be more mindful, but how? I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is with that. How do we do that?
Yes, yes. And I love that you remind us of the mindful eating, because yeah, mindfulness is everywhere. Again, just any moment that you take your wandering mind back to what are you doing, you are practicing mindfulness. And one of the many ways that you can effectively practice mindfulness is during eating time. And often I mention the mindful eating. What is mindful eating, right? Is when you actually put your phone away. How many of us have been to a restaurant and the whole table, everybody's on their phone? The food may arrive, they might not, everything may just feel like less real than a dream afterwards, or especially during it. But yes, one easy, simple, and very powerful way to practice mindfulness is to put your phone down during food, during dinner time, anytime you're eating and you're just concentrated. It's really, and I heard these actually when my son was 4 years old. He took karate, and his teacher used to say to them, think of what you're doing while you're doing it. So the simple way to remind us to practice mindfulness is to just notice, play with, and we can start by when we eat, because most of us eat every day, more than once. And you can just take one time this week. I'm going to take one meal this whole week. I'm going to be mindful. I'm going to put my phone away, the TV's off. I'm going to look at my food, and you ignite all your senses. I look at the food. I notice where I'm seated. I notice my body, how you're feeling. And when you eat, you taste the food. You just with that presence. And it's such a powerful way not to overeat or undereat, because when you are connected, you are really igniting your insight, your intuition. You allow time for your brain to process, hey, I'm satisfied. Maybe you put too much food in your plate. Maybe you put too little food in your plate. And your body, when you are connected, when you're mindful of what you're doing while you're doing it, you notice these things. So the food is, you're going to eat slower. You're going to process that. You're going to feel satisfied by the taste, the texture. And that's all you're doing. One meal out of the entire week. We can start there.
That's awesome that you brought it back to that, because we're out of tune with our body. Our body tells us, like you said, it'll tell us when we've had enough. Or, you know what, tonight you just didn't eat enough. Go get a little bit more. Like what? But we're so out of tune because we're not mindful. We're eating too fast. We're not enjoying all the flavors. We're not enjoying the conversation of our family members if they're there with us, or friends, or whatever it is there. And we've lost that connection to our body and our mind. We override it, basically. We either are eating so fast that we just eat everything on the plate, and it might have been too much till we're like, don't feel good after. Or an hour later, we're like, oh, I'm starving, and you want to eat a whole nother meal because you didn't enjoy the meal you had. There's so much to that. And just being thankful for the food that what you were given as part of being mindful. It doesn't matter what your faith or religion is. You can thank the ground and the farmers for growing the food. Like, it's not, it doesn't have to be as in depth as a religious thanks. And if you're religious, more power to you of thanking God. But it's being thankful that there's food there, having a sense of gratitude to having food. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
And being mindful of it is huge. And what are some other areas that you find people are not as mindful as you think they should be?
Well, you touched something that is one way of being mindful is when you mentioned the word gratitude. And yes, definitely for the food, to just extend your appreciation. Gratitude is linked to appreciation. And when who is heard what you appreciates in your life. So I am grateful. I see the food and yes, there's so much that goes into that. For us, it's so easy nowadays, right? You go to the market, put in your cart. I mean, you have to pay, and I know the price has gone up, but it's easier than it used to be, right?
Mhm.
But there's so much into it. And when you pause and you count what you appreciate, all the things, the blessings in your life. So practicing gratitude is huge. Again, it connects the hypnosis, the meditation, the well-being coaching, because when I appreciate what I already have, I come back to the present, right? I'm not in the future, I'm not in the past, I'm right here and right now. There's a quote from Eckhart Tolle that I love that says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. It's tangible in a way. So giving appreciation, gratitude journaling, I personally love to, at the end of the day, write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I think that single technique alone, which has been dated back Ayurveda, this is 5,000 years ago, wisdom from 5,000 years ago, that now you can read everywhere, the benefits. But yeah, just stopping and saying, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And putting down in a paper before you go to sleep, that unloads, and you go to sleep with that gratitude in your all the cool hormones get activated in your brain, and then that just multiplies while you sleep. So that's very powerful. Yeah, gratitude is a huge way to get out of over there and come back to here.
Yeah, gratitude, I find even if there is some negativity I run into the day, if I can flip something, or at least I may not be grateful for that situation or that energy, but if I can switch it to something I am grateful for, changes my energy, helps me be more positive and look out. In I think in the environment we've all lived in, at some point in time, everybody's had that negative Nancy boss or friend or spouse or parent, and understanding that that's them and you shouldn't be pulling that to you, and how that affects your health is, sometimes you're just grateful that they're doing the best they can and that you don't have to live with them anymore.
Yes.
Sometimes it's little things like that, but finding the positive throughout the day changes your brain chemistry. It's been known, like the dopamine, serotonin, it just changes everything. And so if you can find something outside of the situation, even, will help you get through it unscathed or a little bit happier at the end. I love a good gratitude practice. Prayer is a big one, meditation. I know that you're very into helping people meditate, just to get that breath work out so that they're grounded. We talk a lot about being grounded, and that could mean so many different things to different people. Like, people say, oh, you have to go outside, put your feet in the dirt or the grass and ground yourself. Well, it's more than just that. It's just coming back. Would you like to explain a little bit of that? It's like grounding yourself a little bit through mindfulness, meditation, and all of it.
Yes, all of the above.
All
I
of it.
love that. Yes, recently I actually read or heard a podcast, something to do with, as we get more wisdom behind us, with more age, we can tend to become more distracted, more ungrounded. And one of the many things that is so effective and yet so simple is just we can use colors to ground ourselves. Yeah, you know, there's the perfect world and there's the ideal world. In the perfect world, I'm going to take my shoes off and go outside and put my feet on the grass and ground myself. I don't do that as much in the wintertime because my feet are cold. But regardless, you can practice, you can become grounded, more rooted, more connected with the earth. Right, in Ayurveda, we have these 5 great elements, and earth is one element that ground us. You can use colors. For instance, I love crystals, I love stones. I have, you know, the different colors here. So red is a color that grounds us by visualizing the color red. You can go into your root chakra, which is that energy center at the base of your spine by your sit bones. So you can just visualize that area, visualize the color red, and become more grounded. You can put a picture of mountains in your screen and look at that too. Mountains are very grounded, very earthing, and the positive, the benefit of becoming grounded is becoming more present or less anxious. You know, there's a lot of qualities in the air depending on the season, depending on what age we are in the cycle of life. There's so many things that can create a little more tendency of becoming anxious. I think all of us can agree that we are anxious people in general. We become anxious. Grounding yourself through the breath work, color, visualizations, putting your feet on the sand, on the grass, can help us become more present, more right here, right now.
I love that. I love everything about that. And I was thinking, like, when we were all little kids, we were grounded. We didn't see the anxiousness because we'd be outside playing. I mean, I don't know about kids nowadays, but when we were younger, we'd be outside in the dirt and the grass and just getting that fresh air and connecting with whatever, making mud pies. I mean, I know as dirty as that sounds, people, we used to make mud pies, but we wouldn't eat them though. But you know, just we've lost so much of that as more and more we came inside. Um, and connecting with the dirt. Like I know a lot of people have gotten back into gardening of some sort, even or house plants, but just getting in with the nature helps relax you as well as ground you because you're bringing the outside in if nothing else, or you're being outside in the sunlight is wonders for grounding and getting your brain. And I know a lot of people are afraid of sunlight, but you know, get out there in the morning, 5-10 minutes, you're not going to get sunburned, trust me on this. Take your glasses off, get some sunlight in the back of your eyes. It does wonders for the body as a whole. And then, so we've gone over some mindfulness, some grounding, gratitude. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we close up a little bit? I like what do you offer when you coach through people? Because what you and I are doing is a little different than maybe what you do on a day-to-day basis. So
Yeah, so the one thing that I want to mention is the practice of meditation, because meditation is such a powerful tool to connect us with who we really are. So this simple practice, because I remember when I started back in 2006, I made a commitment to meditate every single day. In 1990, 89, I became exposed to meditation, and it was love at first sight. So I started meditating here and there. And then when I made the commitment to myself, to my self-care, to 1 minute, I started as 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. My children were little. There was so much going on. But my point is, meditation is such an easy tool to reconnect with who you are, reconnect with that superpower, reconnect with that God is within you. And we can talk about meditation, we can read about meditation, but unless we meditate, we're not experiencing the peace, the calmness. And the first thing that people might be thinking already is, oh, meditation is not for me. I hear that a lot because I have too many thoughts. Oh, when I sit down, well, there's all these thoughts. Well, welcome, everybody. We have thousands of thoughts a day. And guess what happens when you sit to meditate? They're going to come. Just like the outside distractions, they don't stop coming just so you can have a peaceful life. You make peace inside. So you connect, you close your eyes. Thoughts come, you observe them. It's such a great practice. During meditation, you practice your whole life how to live a happier life, right? Because if I can just deal with what's coming from the outside with some equanimity, with some kind of stability, not reacting. And this is what you do when you practice meditation. The thoughts come, the neighbor starts mowing their lawn. There's all these teachers to help us to stay focused. And this is another area. So in one practice, even if it's 1, 2, 3 minutes a day, you can reconnect with your true self, who you really are. And that experience comes out on your everyday life. And that is a huge benefit of meditation. So yes, if there's one thing that I really, really want to emphasize is that the experience that we have with the meditation can really open up that silence, because we are hearing, seeing, there's so much going on. And when you stop and you go within, there's a moment of silence, and that silence is the birthplace of happiness, creativity, and really an infinite field of possibilities.
Absolutely. I strongly believe in meditation, though I've been struggling with it a lot lately. And for those that are like me, I kind of combine prayer and meditation together so that it's a daily practice, because I think too often people who even pray rush through that, and it's not the connection it's supposed to be. So it depends on what your belief systems are. And everybody believes lots of different ways, even in the same religion, they will believe lots of different ways. But that meditation and getting still can be a time of inward thoughts, of being a better person, relying on your faith, whatever it is. As a Catholic, there is a lot of prayers that people don't understand, but they're a form of meditation because we're just focusing on those words. As well as in Muslim prayers, the same thing. They're focusing on just these set words of that prayer. They're not, it can, those are things that help kind of control the mind. And when you have a mantra, when you meditate, sometimes it helps the belief system in you that you're going to be stronger, whatever it is. Like, today I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to eat clean. That you could say that 100, but it helps get your mind set on something, and helps get through the thoughts. But like you said, no, meditation is not clearing the mind completely. You're not going to. You're not. None of us of this level are, those guru people that can clear their mind for hours. And I don't even know if they do. I was always taught meditation is bringing in the thoughts and then either dealing with them or pushing them back out, and realizing that they're not their thoughts, they're not real actualities. Like, like a thought comes in that, oh, I'm gonna, or this is gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow or in 10 minutes. Like, we don't know. So like bringing it back to being and paying attention to your body. Like sometimes it's a good time to assess what's going on in your body, aches, pains, acknowledging them, acknowledging the fact that you can feel parts of your body. I mean, I know that sounds like a weird gratitude, but sometimes, oh, my knees hurt. Oh, I'm grateful that I can actually feel my knees, because there might be a time where you can't.
Exactly.
I just always like to bring it around to know that meditation, prayer, they all go hand in hand depending on what you want to focus on in your quiet time. And I don't think most people take 5 minutes a day to truly meditate, even if it's in their prayers. Like, it's very few people in this world actually do that.
Yeah.
And five minutes isn't very long. And the connection you make and what it does for your well-being, your energy, everything, it changes everything. I can't stress that enough. So I'm really glad you brought up the meditation, because it's a huge thing. And there's guided meditation. If you want to keep it separate and do guided meditation, sometimes they'll just help you get started. Music is a great, for me, sometimes having meditative music in the background, because my brain sometimes needs two things going on. So if I can hear the music, I can kick the thoughts out better.
Yeah, like you said, the mantra, right? So you can use the music as a mantra. You can use a mantra. When I teach meditation, I give you your primordial sound mantra is the vibration the universe was making at the time and place of your birth. It's all connected with the moon's cycle and anyways. So there's this sound. So we've all probably heard about sound healing, the healing powers of sound. Yeah, so using music, using a mantra, so you can focus on that. And when the thoughts come, the sensations in the body, the sounds in your environment, you observe them. Back to that stop technique that we can use everywhere all the time. You observe what's happening. And when you notice you drift away from the mantra, whatever it is, whether it's your breath, a mantra, a word, or music, you go, oh, with kindness, loving kindness. That's huge part of mindfulness is loving kindness. And it begins with us. I'm drifting away. So feel the difference. I'm upset because I drifted away again. Or, oh, I drifted away. I'll go back to my mantra. I'll go back to the music. I'll go back to the breath. So loving kindness is such a huge piece of mindfulness, especially towards a life that's happier, healthier, more
Yeah.
joyful.
And I think the kindness piece is huge, because we're often kind to others when we speak, when we think, when we say what we do, and we're so unkind to ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, in if there's one thing I can suggest people to do, is when you find yourself saying, my arms are too fat, I'm too fat, I'm not, I don't have any willpower, take a step back, and would you say that to somebody else? That's the whole stop. Would you say that to somebody else? The answer probably is no. You're not gonna go around and say, oh gosh, man, your arms are too big. Like, you're not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it's time to take a step back and find that when you do these techniques of being mindful, of meditating, stopping before you go on a rampage, of eating whatever it is, and start liking yourself. I like to say loving yourself, but you got to start liking yourself before you can actually love yourself. You will be amazed by using this technique how much better you start feeling and how your energy shifts in a positive manner to be better for yourself, for your family, for your job, whatever it is. Taking all of these techniques a little at a time gets you healthy. It's mind, body, and soul, spirit, soul. They're kind of intertwined at that point, but we have to have a purpose outside of ourselves. That's your soul, some sort of purpose outside of yourself. You are not the center of the universe. And then our mind needs to be healthy and our body needs to be healthy. And when we get all three, we are in a better situation, but we always seem to be 1/3 off somewhere, sometimes 2/3 off. um, so it's a strive to get those three things, that three parts of you all holistically healthy. Hell no, healthy. Wow. So that's our goal by exploring things that make you uncomfortable. Meditation might make you incredibly uncomfortable, but it could be just what you need.
Yes.
Living in the uncomfortable at times is what we need to be a better version of ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. And I heard something recently, not too long ago, that doing the uncomfortable, doing hard things, right? Because it's easier to just stay the same, same as yesterday, last year, 10 years ago. But when I do what's hard, get out of my comfort zone, my life becomes easier,
Mm-hmm.
because the opposite also comes to mind. If I only do what's easy and comfortable, then look around. Your life is harder on you. So just getting out of your comfort zone, I love that. It's with confidence, with love, kindness to yourself. It all begins with us. So many of us are struggling right now because there's people struggling,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're in a country that, compared to the whole world, we have so much here, but we suffer. Some of us are suffering because other people are suffering. They don't have homes, and that comes really close to home. Here we're seeing that. But here's the thing. It begins with you. It begins with me. People say, oh, I wish I could help. Well, you can work on yourself, right? It begins with me. If I'm comfortable with it, I'm peaceful, I now exude that. And I can offer comfort and peace, maybe for someone that really needs it. If whether it's a smile, a comforting word, a hug, or just answering a phone call and having a conversation, just start to work on ourselves and look and feel good, better, so you can help others. And I think by just working on yourself, you are contributing tremendously for the whole world energy, for you're helping somebody, you're helping yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you're helping the world.
Absolutely. It goes back to that thing that we like to say is when you're on an airplane, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first because you're no help to anybody else if you die. You're no help to anybody else if you're ill. So we do have to take care of us to be able to take care of others. And we've got to get out of the mindset that it's selfish to take care of us. It's actually one of the least selfish things you can do because you can't take care of anybody else. And if you're sick, that means somebody else has to take care of you mentally, physically, whatever it is. That means somebody else is taking care of you. So the more we can do to better ourselves betters the world because we're capable of helping where help is needed.
Yes, absolutely.
So Okay, so you've been very, very gracious with your time, and I would love to tell people where they can find you.
Thank you. You can find me on Instagram. That's one easy way. I think everyone has an Instagram nowadays, and that is Adri C. Gage, just the beginning of my name, ADRIC for my middle name, and Gage, or my website, www.acgwellness.com.
Awesome. And of course, they will be linked in the show notes. Adriana, is there anything you want to close out with? I really appreciate you spending this time with me and sharing all of the lovely tips on mindfulness and grounding and meditation. And I feel very relaxed. Every time I talk to you, I get more and more relaxed. It's
Oh, perhaps because we go from everywhere and into right here. Yeah. So I just want, first of all, to share my gratitude for you for doing what you're doing and sharing your wisdom, sharing the wisdom traditions of the past with people so they can be more empowered. So I really admire you for doing that, for inviting me to your podcast, for being here for everybody. And yes, I think the one thing that I want to close with is to remind ourselves that self-care is not selfish. Yeah, absolutely. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your body, to your mind, and to your soul by just taking a little time and being more present, more grounded, and right here, right now.
awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will all see you next time. Thanks, friends. Bye. Thanks for listening in today. I hope you got some nuggets to take on your health journey. Remember, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes. No medical advice is being given. By listening to this podcast, you agree to the full disclaimer, which is linked in the show notes. If you found this podcast helpful, could you take 30 seconds and leave a review? Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps others discover my show. Once again, thank you for being part of my community. Until next time, have a blessed day.